Mr. President, I am pleased to advise this Senate that officials of Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados engaged in active bilateral talks during the months of October and November 2023. Participants in those meetings on the Trinidad and Tobago side included officials of the Ministry of Foreign and Caricom Affairs, Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, the Ministry of National Security, the Tobago House of Assembly, including from the THA's Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development. And there was similar representation on the Barbados side. Fisherfolk from both countries also participated in these talks. A representative of the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism, CRFM, also participated in the talks at reference. I thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Mark.
Can the Honourable Minister share with us, Honourable Senate, the status of these discussions, Mr. President?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would want to advise the member that at the conclusion of those discussions, a joint communique was issued in November 2023. Joint communique, meaning it was signed off both by Trinidad and Tobago and the Barbados side, was publicly issued, published, and therefore available to well-researched members of this chamber and members of the broader national community. That joint communique did reflect the main outcomes of the discussions as well as the current status of the issue. Out of an abundance of concern for the noble intent behind those discussions, I would indicate here that both countries agreed to collaborate in the conduct of an assessment of the fish stock, particularly the flying fish and associated species, toward achieving a greater understanding of the factors affecting sustainability in the region. There was also an expressed desire by both sides to enter into a new fishing agreement in the future. There was also agreement for continued stakeholder consultations with the fisherfolk community, both in Trinidad and Tobago and in Barbados, in moving forward on this particular matter. The study that I referenced was discussed given the need for more data that would explore all the possible factors affecting our fish stock, and not just between Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago, but also the other islands of the Eastern Caribbean, whose fish stock are also being affected, and would include issues of the impact of sargassum weed on the fish stock, for example, which would have to be considered. Such a study would also determine what levels of fishing could be deemed to be safe and make recommendations toward the preservation of same. It has been indicated during the talks that other states would be invited to participate in such a study, which is expected to be medium-term, a multi-year study, but necessary in the Southern and Eastern Caribbean at this time.